The countdown is on. Only 8 years to go. The UN's Sustainable Development Goals are ambitious, and the Deputy Secretary General has been telling my colleague Becky Anderson about making them happen by 2030. Take a listen.
At the United Nations, we know that we have the right policies, but we need the political will and the bold leadership to transform our world by 2030.
The UN Sustainable Development Goals, a series of global ambitions laid out for the world to achieve by 2030. Each year, world leaders gather at UN headquarters to discuss how we can all make promises towards these goals during the Global Goals Week. But for the first time, this year's conversations are taking place far from the shores of the East River in New York City and lighting up minds at Expo in Dubai. And the woman leading the charge for the UN is Amina Mohammed.
Bringing it here has been quite amazing to see the different lenses people have put on it, whether it's climate action or we're talking about women's rights or education, technology, and this has been the place where it has happened for us. So bringing it outside of the UN into the real world, I think connects us to the reality of the challenges that we have ahead.
Dubai Expo 2020 is positioning itself to be the most sustainable world expo in history, and it hopes that it can turn this expo site into a global stage for the SDGs.
For us to have the Global Goals Week here is a reflection of the can-do. It's a huge momentum where young people, where technology, where the future is really clear in its aspirations, but also that the pathway itself is there within the 2030 Agenda and the Sustainable Development Goals.
And her priorities as the newly reinstated UN Deputy Secretary General, urging the world to keep those SDGs as a guide front and centre.
How do we get the world, with the finances that are available, there are resources, how do we make sure that we can channel those, look at the financial architecture and channel those to the programs and projects that need to be done at scale? We already have a blueprint, so we don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Being on track to achieving the 2030 target has had its fair share of setbacks. And the arrival of a crippling worldwide pandemic has certainly magnified many of these global issues.
So what I would say in terms of a stock take is that we still have too many people who are living below the poverty line, not enough children in school. Everyone should be in school, but we need to reimagine what kind of education that we need for everyone, and that we are looking at the SDGs with the possibility in the next 9 years of attaining them. But it's a huge lift. It's a lift that is needed by individual efforts and collective efforts of leaders and countries around the world to make it happen. We know what to do, and we have the policies, we've got the tools, so let's get it done.
Ahead on Connect the World,